Welcome back, everyone, to my channel, The Buckets of Spaces. Now, there is a slight issue. My tripod has been broken, so it broke a few days ago. So I am keeping my camera using some objects to have the camera on this angle so I can see the lens and you can see me. Now, the light is not at a proper angle and there are some issues with the video, but the most important thing is to adapt to the situation and to make a video. And this video is going to be a very short preview about the Champions League final, a short preview and a prediction. But the game is actually less than 24 hours away now. And I was busy in my work. I was so busy in my work that I could not get time to actually make this video properly. So I'm just going to keep it short, to the point, and just talk about some of the most important points that I think are pretty crucial when it comes to this game. So we'll start off with the history of between these two sides. Liverpool and Real Madrid have a huge history when it comes to Europe. But they are both two of the most successful clubs in Europe. Real Madrid are the most successful when it comes to European Cups. Liverpool are the third most successful. And if they win this final, they will become the joint second most successful with AC Milan. So they are both European giants. The last time Liverpool lost a Champions League final was against Real Madrid in 2018, which a game we all remember. Which, how can we forget that game? And the last time Real Madrid lost a Champions League final was actually against Liverpool back in 1981 in Paris, where I think Ian Rush scored the winning goal. So the history between these two sides is pretty huge. I'm not going to talk more about it because we need to get to the point quickly. And the second point here is actually the title of the video, and which could have surprised a lot of people because I genuinely believe that Mohamed Salah should not play this game, at least not start this game, and should be dropped, should be the substitute for this game. Because one reason is, as a manager, you want your players to behave well, and Jurgen Klopp is actually one of the best at maintaining his players' behavior off the pitch and on the pitch. The balance is very right under Jurgen Klopp because he's a very good man manager. The problem I have with Salah is, since he has returned from the AFCON, his form has been very bad. His form has been genuinely very poor. He has still been the joint top scorer in the Premier League, but come on, we can all see the eye test is clearly there. We can see he's not playing as well as he was. He's not at the level of the confidence he had before he went to the AFCON. And I can understand if you lose with your country, there is a sense of disappointment which you carry with yourself for a few months. And I'm not blaming him for that. My problem with Salah is, and this is, I think a lot of people can relate with me when I say this, as a sportsman or as a professional in any profession, in any field, when you are at the top of your game, when you're performing well, you want pressure because then you can relish the pressure, you can challenge the pressure, and you can overcome the problems. Salah is in a bad form, and when you're struggling with anything, the worst thing you want, the last thing you want, is actually pressure. You get what I'm saying? Now, what is happening is no one is putting any pressure on Salah. Salah is doing it for himself. Why is he going out in the media talking about revenge for 2018? Come on, everyone gets injured. I got injured 2 weeks ago in a match. I'm not gonna go behind that guy and ask for revenge because these things happen in sport. And even though if he wants a revenge because he lost a match, even though any Liverpool player can want a revenge if you lost the match, because even when I lose a match, of course I want a revenge. But when you say these things, you have to be careful that you don't put extra unnecessary pressure on teammates. When Salah tweeted after the Real Madrid comeback in the second leg, he tweeted, "We have a score to settle." You don't need to tweet these things because the fans already know that. They already know that you have something to settle against a particular side against which you underperformed or had a bad moment a few years ago, which is totally understandable on any human level. But if you understand at the same time that what you are doing in that situation is just putting pressure on yourself, which probably at that particular time you're not capable to handle. And I'm not saying Mohamed Salah is a bad player. Of course, he has been one of the best players in the world for the past 4 years. But at the moment, you don't need stuff like that. You don't need this off field, unnecessary statement, mind games. And he started the mind games. I have to be honest, Real Madrid players have been excellent. Like for Liverpool, only Salah has been speaking. But for Real Madrid, Valverde came out, Benzema came out, Carvajal came out, Carlo Ancelotti came out. And I like that. Because if something is being spoken against your club in a bad way in the media, you have to respond. And Real Madrid responded, and I have no problem with that. So that is the one reason why I think Salah shouldn't be playing in this match. The second reason why I think Salah shouldn't be playing in this game is actually a bit of tactical reason, which has also got a lot to do with his form. So he's not in a great form right now, which always goes against you. And the second thing is Thiago is probably not going to play this match. So I just checked Twitter, and the reports are that Thiago is fit enough to play in the final, but chances are that he could still only play half of the game or just 30 minutes or maybe not play the whole game. So when you don't have a player like Thiago, who has been one of the best players in the world this season, what you lack is you lack a player who can handle the ball in tight spaces. It's very important to have a player who can handle ball in tight spaces, especially when you're playing against teams who are probably going to sit back and hit you on the break. So you need that player who can receive the ball in between the lines, in between the midfield and the defense, and turn and play a pass and handle the ball in tight spaces, making quick turns and touches. His touch against Wolves for the first goal of Liverpool, which was scored by Mane on the last Premier League day of the season, that was a magical football touch. You cannot teach these things to anyone. They are just natural. They're just magical touches which he does. Now, if Liverpool miss him in the Champions League final, where they're actually expected to dominate possession, they will need someone who can come in that space, which is between the midfield and the defense, receive the ball in tight spaces, turn, combine with the players around him. Naby Keita can do that. Sadio Mane is also very good at that. But one player who is extremely good at that, or could be very good at that, especially when you're missing Thiago, is actually Diogo Jota. And that's where my point about Salah comes in. I think Salah should be dropped, not because I don't think he's a very good player. He's an excellent footballer. But at the moment, the situation is forcing Liverpool to have a player who can receive the ball in between the lines, turn quickly, and do something with it to put pressure on the defense. And Jota is probably the best at that after Thiago. Luis Diaz is also good at that, but Jota is more good when it comes to the inside wing, the inside lane, which we see, the half spaces. He can actually exploit the half spaces really well, and then they could use this to trouble the Real Madrid defense, which I don't think Salah is very good at. So one reason behind my opinion of dropping Salah is his off-field stuff, which is absolutely unnecessary. And the second is actually a bit tactical, because if you lose Thiago, you need someone who can do it, who can do that creative, quick stuff in the midfield. And I know I'm comparing Jota to Thiago. Both are very different players, but they can bring something that Real Madrid will struggle to deal with. And you need players who bring something that the opposition will struggle to deal with. And that's why I think Diogo Jota should start this game ahead of Mo Salah. And before coming to my next one, I'll just say, even though I've said this, I think Jurgen Klopp will go with Mohamed Salah, and it could happen that he could end up scoring the winner, and then I will be proved completely wrong, which could happen. But again, I can only predict with my analysis and what I've got and what the data is with me. So with that, I will say that Diogo Jota should be playing in front of Mo Salah as the starter in the starting 11. The next point I'll try to make here is, in last season, when Liverpool faced Real Madrid in the quarterfinals, I think it was the quarterfinals, the first leg Real Madrid won by 3-1. And in that game, Vinicius absolutely destroyed Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, Trent has never been the greatest of defenders. What he is an exceptional footballer going forward. His crosses, his distribution, the way he controls the game from that position is actually quite brilliant to see from a fullback. But Vinicius is going to be there. Now, I've seen a lot of articles, a lot of videos, a lot of discussions, a lot of podcasts, and people are constantly talking about that battle being the most important. Do I think if that battle is one of the most important? Of course, yes. But do I think if that battle is the most important? No. I think when you play against Liverpool, the one thing you need midfielders who can handle the ball under so much pressure and can manipulate the ball very quickly to get beyond the Liverpool midfield. Every time a midfield can do that against Liverpool, you can beat Liverpool because they counter press so quickly. But if you have players who can handle ball in tight spaces, then you have a way to beat Liverpool. And Real Madrid have got Luka Modric, probably the best midfielder when it comes to beating pressure, when it comes to finding the pass, when it comes to wriggling away from 2 or 3 people, when it comes to handling the ball in tight spaces. So they have got the perfect player who can actually destroy this Liverpool midfield if he has a good game. And that's where I think Vinicius and Trent, that battle is actually important, but not the most important, because that is in a phase of play where Real Madrid will only reach if they get it right in the midfield zone. So you need to get it right in the defensive third, then in the midfield third, so that you can think about getting the ball to Vinicius quickly so that he can exploit the space that has been left by Trent. Now also another thing is, Trent last season was ripped apart by Vinicius, and that happened of course, but Trent was playing with Nat Phillips, and I think who was the next? Nat Phillips and Ozan Kabak, or I think it was Reece Williams. So when you're playing with Nat Phillips, you're gonna be in trouble, because Liverpool have always had fullbacks who go forward, but they have defenders who cover them. That day, there was no Matip, there was no Gomez, there was no Van Dijk. In the final, Trent Alexander-Arnold will either play with Matip alongside him or Ibrahim Konate, both extremely good, and Konate extremely fast, extremely quick and powerful. So as much as I think that Vinicius is going to have the upper hand over Trent when it comes to that zone, because Trent will continuously go forward because he has to. That's the way Liverpool play. I do think this time Trent is left with a much better support because Trent will have Henderson alongside him, Matip covering him, and Matip will have Fabinho or Van Dijk covering him with Robertson on that side. So this time the Liverpool defense that is facing Real Madrid is a much more balanced defense, and the goalkeeper that Liverpool have this time is actually probably the best goalkeeper in the world. I'm a huge fan of Alisson. I just cannot speak more of him because the way he plays, the ease he does, his anticipation, his best quality is actually proactiveness, which people don't talk about. His proactiveness is excellent. He's always very proactive. He's always reading the game. He's always aware. He's quick. And Liverpool's high line has been exploited so many times, but this season he has been excellent at stopping attacks. So, of course, the Trent and Vinicius debate is an interesting one because last season that was the point of difference between the two sides. But Real Madrid will have to get the ball to Vinicius at the right time so that he can attack that space. But once again, that space will be covered with either Matip or Konate, who are both tremendously solid defenders. So that battle this time it won't probably be Vinicius versus Trent. It could be Vinicius versus Konate or Matip, whoever plays alongside Van Dijk, because Trent will go, the centre half will cover, and the defensive midfielder will cover the centre half. So it could be actually Vinicius versus Konate and Matip, and it could be the point of difference in this game if who wins that battle. And I think Matip and Konate are both very solid to get past, but Vinicius has the skill set to do it. So now we'll move on to my final predictions, and I'll actually put a link down below. I did a podcast with the Full Time Whistle Company, which was powered by Ballebazi, and we did a podcast in which I predicted my winner for this game. And I also wrote an article about this game, which was a prediction article. So in that also I predicted the winner. Of course, I'll say it in this video. I'm not the kind of person who's going to tell you to go somewhere else to look at that. I'm not going to do that, of course. So I'll say it in a slightly descriptive way so you can understand how I think about this prediction, because I think Liverpool are the better team. I think Liverpool have the better balance of players. I think the balance in the starting 11 is much better. If Thiago does not play, Liverpool's chances of winning go much lower because he's an exceptional player. And this season he has been very good. And when I look at the tactics, when I look at the data, when I look at logic, I think Liverpool. But in the podcast and in the prediction, I've predicted Real Madrid. And that's because every time I think that Liverpool are the better team, somewhere inside me there's a gut feeling that says Real Madrid are winning it. And they're just winning it. Which for me is actually illogical, because in a lot of aspects of the game, like in 2018, Real Madrid were a much better team than Liverpool were. But in the last 3 years, Liverpool have improved massively. And Real Madrid have actually gone backwards. For Real Madrid to be in the final is actually a great thing. And in this final, Liverpool are a much better team than Real Madrid when it comes to various aspects of the game. But Real Madrid are Real Madrid. Like, they were not better than PSG, they won the game. They were not better than Chelsea, they won the game. City were much better than Real Madrid. Since Madrid still won the game. So there's this weird gut feeling, very strong gut feeling inside me, which is shouting and which is very much saying to me, Real Madrid are going to win the final. Which is, of course, for me illogical. But because the gut feeling is so strong, I have to go with it. And that's why my prediction for the final is a Real Madrid win. This will be probably their 14th Champions League. The second most successful is AC Milan. So that will be double the team who are second. So that would be, like, again, Real Madrid are a European royal club, but this would be another level. And every time they win it, they are the best team in Europe. This time they haven't been the best team in Europe. They've been struggling. They're in transition period. And the job that Carlo Ancelotti has done has been truly tremendous. So again, if you ask me logic, tactics, data, statistics, football, Liverpool should win it. But my gut feeling somewhere is very strong that Real Madrid are going to get the result and they're going to win it. So that will be my prediction, that Real Madrid win this game. And with that, thank you for watching. I hope it was short. I'm not sure about how many minutes it will be, because once I edit it only, then I will know how many minutes it actually was. But I hope it was short. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, contact me through the platforms that I've listed below. You can always have a discussion with me. I'm always open for that. And if you don't like something that I say, just let me know, because I'll try to change it if it's actually something that I should be changing. So with that, I say thank you, Jai Hind, goodbye, and enjoy the Champions League final.